June is Pride Month, and companies may be looking for ways to celebrate and recognize it. And we're here this morning with Maxine Clark, the co-founder of Flip Learning, and Catherine Fendel with the Alberta Blue Cross to share some ways on how we can create inclusivity in our workspaces and in our communities for Pride Month. So good morning to you both. Maxine, tell us a little bit about some of the work that you do with Alberta Blue Cross in creating those inclusivity workplaces.
Sure, yeah, so our consultancy focuses on helping other organizations learn and change, and a lot of the learning and change that's happening right now is moving beyond talking about and training about equity and inclusion and actually into embedding it into ways of working and ways of doing business. And so with Alberta Blue Cross, in partnership with Catherine's team, we've put employees and leaders at the center of our design. And so we've worked with them to understand what are the things in their life that are important, what is the experience of the workplace like, and created opportunities for people to get an understanding of what it's like to be somebody else and experience things from their point of view. And so without shame or blame, and with a real heavy focus on curiosity and discovery, we've created an environment where people can bring a mindset of equity and inclusion into their decision making. So whether that's at the board level with governance decisions or at the front line with customer decisions, bringing that lens. And what we've heard from the employees and from the leaders is that they feel seen, they feel valued, and that shows up in things like retention and engagement and customer experience, all kinds of great outcomes.
So with that, how do you implement these? Are they workshops? Are they small group environments? Question and answer kind of situations?
Yeah, lots of different things. So we've got like virtual training sessions, in-person experiences, micro learning, so opportunities to learn a minute at a time, just in the flow of work. Lots of different spaces. And how has that worked with Alberta Blue Cross? What have you seen with the employees about what ways we're working for them?
Well, it's about awareness building with employees. So what we really focused on with Maxine's team was building that foundation around what is our culture at Alberta Blue Cross when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so this training really helped us to build that awareness with employees, and over the last 5 years, because we've been working together now for about 5 years, is really seeing the growth of inclusion and acceptance and equity in the organization.
And talk a little bit about the importance of fostering that kind of work environment.
Oh, it's actually, I'm wearing a t-shirt today. This is our new Alberta Blue Cross Pride t-shirt, and this came about because our employees said we would like a different way to celebrate Pride this year. And so we had a design contest, and one of our employees designed this. So it's really important for us as an organization to really to show our support to the community, show the support during Pride, and actually not just during Pride Month, but across the entire year.
It's brought into focus specifically for this month, but it's something that, as an organization, as our community, we're looking to evolve and be inclusive and have that as, not something that we have to remind ourselves about, but that it's just there and present all year long.
Absolutely, woven into every part of your workplace culture. And certainly we're seeing the research tells us that inclusive organizations realize a 75% decrease in employee sick time, 50% decrease in employee turnover, and 3/4 of Canadian job seekers are actively searching for inclusive organizations to apply to. So as an organization, it's important. That's really important because that opens up our pool of talent that you can hire from, and so just being supportive, treating your employees with respect, making sure they feel valued, so important in the workplace now.
So Maxine, if there's an organization that is out there that is probably wondering, are we doing everything that we can to foster that environment? Can they get some advice? Can they perhaps get in touch with your team to help to make sure that conversation and that opportunity is there?
For sure, and something I generally recommend is to do the work to understand what are the biases that are in place either in us as individuals, kind of below our consciousness, or in organizations. And to give an example, I'm in my 40s. In my growing up years, the the Hollywood comedy, the playground insults, was quite homophobic in nature, and so after decades of being exposed to that, it takes a pretty conscious unlearning to put away some of those biases and replace them with more positive ones. And so a way that I generally recommend people do that, whether it's in organizations or independently, is to intentionally consume content that is authored or produced by members of the LGBTQ2S+ community, so movies or books or social media, to get a sense of the world through that lens or through that point of view versus the typical things we're exposed to, like stereotypes or tropes.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We appreciate your time. And if you would like more information about what we've discussed today, you can visit Alberta Blue Cross online at ab.bluecross.ca. And of course, follow them on social media. They are everywhere at AB.